doing? My name is Carlos Ramirez, owner of NVSAUDIO in Roselle, New Jersey, and welcome to Tool Time Tuesday. Today I want to talk about the Milwaukee 12-volt cordless soldering iron. It's an M12 tool. We've been using this soldering iron for a little over a year. I did a review on the soldering iron when I first got it, but our opinions and views have changed a little bit. Where we have both at the shop. We have a couple of Aussie irons and we have 3 or 4 of the Milwaukee irons. The Milwaukee is a lot less expensive, and it's got its benefits, and obviously it's got its drawbacks. After using it for a year, it actually started to grow on me a little bit. There's a few things I do like about it, and then there's a few things I really don't like about it. It's a really, really tall soldering iron, but it does have an adjustable head. One thing I definitely recommend, do not get it with the small battery pack. That is completely useless. You have to upgrade to the bigger battery pack. There's a couple of reasons why. Bigger battery pack actually gives you double the runtime, and it makes the iron burn a lot hotter and stay warmer longer. Another thing is, when you're working with a hot soldering iron, you don't want it to tip over. It's a lot easier to tip it over with this small base than it is with this larger base. This larger base makes it really, really hard to tip the iron over, so while you're working, you can set it down. You can adjust the head to whatever angle you need. You can get ahead and solder and work what you need to without worrying about knocking it over. With the smaller battery, you are guaranteed to knock it over. I'm 100% sure of that. Plus, it doesn't get hot enough using a smaller battery. That's why I really didn't like it too much last year. But after I upgraded to the bigger battery, the unit became a lot more useful. So do yourself a favor, if you're going to purchase the iron, or if you already have M12 tools, get the extended battery pack. You're going to get a lot more use and enjoyment out of the iron. It makes it a lot more valuable. I was just in Home Depot the other day and I noticed they had a 2-pack of batteries for like, I believe it was $100. I'll post the link below. So if you get the tool and the batteries with the upgraded battery, it's still about $100 less than the Aussie iron. If you can afford both, go for both. Next week I'm actually going to do a head-to-head comparison, but this week I only want to talk about the Milwaukee. Things I like about it, I like the adjustable head. I like the fact that you can change the battery. So if the battery's running low, you just swap and grab another one. So you have one on the charger and one that you're using. I like the fact that it's got an LED in the top, so if you're soldering under the dashboard, everybody knows how useful that is, so you can actually see where you're going without having to jam a flashlight up there. It's got removable tips. You don't need any tools. You just pop this out. It comes with 2 tips. It comes with a flat tip like this, and it comes with a pointed tip like this. So since we have multiple irons, I have a couple with the pointed tip and a couple with the flat tip. I like the flat tip better when doing thicker gauge wire, where I can lay the wire right on top of it and just feed the solder in. Gives me twice as much solder, twice as fast. What else do I like about the Milwaukee iron? The fact that you walk into any Home Depot and purchase it. The Aussie iron, takes a week, 2 weeks to get. Milwaukee only comes in the red and black, so you guys that want to coordinate your soldering irons with your toolboxes, or I know Junior works here. Junior's got a lime green one, so you can never ever confuse his Aussie iron with anybody else's. In Milwaukee, it only comes in one color, so it's easily to get confused on whose belongs to whose. What else do I? It's got a flashlight. It's got a battery indicator. So when you flip it on, it tells you how much use you got on the battery. Then when the light stops flashing and goes solid, it lets you know that you're ready to solder. After you turn it off, the red light comes on and lets you know that the tip is still hot. Do not put the iron away. You will burn something. That light stays on until the tip drops to room temperature. That's a nice feature. I really like that. As everybody knows, when you're working with a soldering iron, you got to go like this. It might cause you some fingerprints. For warranty purposes, if the iron breaks within a year, you can just walk into any Home Depot and exchange it. That's pretty good. Comes with 2 tips in the pack. The guys here that do remote starts all the time really love these irons because they leave them on for the entire time, and then after that, it'll last 1 or 2 complete remote start installs without ever turning the iron off. So you're getting hour of runtime with the iron on, with the extended battery, and then once they're done, they'll just swap out the battery and grab a fresh one. So the iron will run all day. They like the fact that they don't have to press a momentary switch. It's just latched on and it stays on. So I get it, I understand it. I wish it was smaller. This thing is really, really, really tall. talking like 14 inches tall. So there's just certain places it doesn't fit. And the body is all plastic. It's a plastic body. The Aussie Iron's body is aluminum. So this has taken a few tumbles. This one, the neck already split apart, so you can see we have that electrical tape together. I would love to see it in aluminum, but I'm sure that would add a considerable amount of cost, so I understand why they didn't do it. Let me go ahead and click it on so I can show you the warm-up time. Just powered it on. We're going to go ahead and solder. We have this is actually an 8-gauge cable we have set up here. Then we have a 16-gauge cable set up here. I just want to show you how fast you can solder through the cable. Won't do anything past 8-gauge, but that's fine. Anything bigger than 8-gauge, we normally just use a torch. Solder our copper lugs on. Takes about 10 to 14 seconds before you can start using it. Yep, blasted through that wire right away. That one's saturated all the way through. You can see that. That's never coming apart. And we'll move on over to the big boy. It's a really, really big iron. Look at that. Yeah, once it's hot, this will pretty much go through anything. So we're at about 30 to 45 seconds that the iron's been on already. And completely soldering all the way through 8-gauge. Yeah, we're all the way through there. We have a nice solid joint. That's never coming apart. It's got your battery level indicator. 4 bars, you can see. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. The green light's going to go out. Now the red light comes on to let you know that tip is still hot. So while you're sitting there and wrapping up the install, don't put the iron away until that red indicator goes out. It's pretty cool. Home Depot didn't used to have these in stock last year, but I went to 2 or 3 Home Depots in the past 2 weeks, and each of them had at least 2 of them in stock, so you can just walk in and pick it up. The tool by itself is $80 if you get it like this. Part number on just the tool is 2488-20. So if you already have a bunch of M12 stuff, that's all you need. I'll put the link below in the combo. You can get it in the combo, which comes with tool, battery, and the charger. Or it's a must. You have to get the extended battery pack to make this thing useful. I don't think there's anything else I need to say about it. It's a reliable iron. I haven't had one break yet. Actually, I did have one break yet, but it wasn't the iron's fault. The guys dropped it off the top of a box truck we were working on, and it landed on the tip, completely destroyed the iron. And believe it or not, they took care of it under warranty after I pieced it back together and made it look like one piece again. So don't use butane soldering irons. We've gone through about $1,500 out of the snap-on ones, constantly run out of butane. The igniter's constantly going bad. It won't fire, won't turn on. Invest in one of these. It's going to save you money in the long run without having to purchase butane, and because we never got more than 6-7 months out of a snap-on iron. Everything we do here is soldered, and those are good for hobbyists and home use. It's for professional use. I have not found a professional grade butane soldering iron. This is definitely professional grade, and the Aussie iron is definitely professional grade. I definitely recommend it. Give it a shot. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me. Just give me a call at the shop. I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. It's a 90-watt iron. Milwaukee claims that it gets up to 750 degrees, but I'll show you next week that it does not. I don't know how I think the most we got out of the tip of this was 400 or 500 degrees, but it still gets hot enough within 15 seconds to solder through 8 and 10 gauge wire. So for everything that we do here, remote start installs, radio, amplifier installs, that's more than enough. And then when you do the bigger wire, let's say 4 gauge, 0 gauge, then we just switch over to the torch, so that's a non-issue there. Thank you. I'll see you next week.